Hello and welcome to Even Field, the sports podcast that puts women first. I'm Eileen.
And I'm Josie, and much like Nebraska football coach Matt Rule started his signing day press conference, we are going to start off by talking about National Girls and Women in Sports Day.
Yeah, so we both played sports.
We did.
As children / into high school.
And beyond, in
and
your
beyond.
case.
And in my case, yes, I still play hockey.
So we felt that you guys probably don't know us very well, and we both play sports that aren't super mainstream.
Right.
So we're going to talk a little bit about how we got into that and the impact it's had on our lives. So if you want to start off, Eileen, talking about hockey.
Sure. Okay, so I have a little anecdote for how I got into ball hockey.
Oh, excellent.
So when I was 8 years old, I was an Irish dancer. And coming back from a competition, my mom took me by my brother's ball hockey practice. So for those of you that don't know, ball hockey is a lot like ice hockey, except you run, and it's a little orange ball instead of a puck.
Does the ball hurt less than the puck?
It hurts a lot less than the puck. It still hurts, but less.
Okay, I'm very pro the ball. Go on.
All right, we're going to get you into ball hockey, Josie.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
So we were there for it was just practice. It wasn't even a game, but I was like, oh my gosh, they're like stick handling around cones. That looks fun. And Mom was like, you really want to play this? I was like, yes. So there was a trailer, a lady like working at the rink with like an equipment trailer. And my mom was like, oh, like, are you still taking signups for the season? And she was like, yes. And I said, because I guess I was skeptical as a child or something. I don't know. I was like, well, I bet you don't let kids my age play. And she was like, oh, no, kids your age can play. And I was like, well, I bet girls can't play. And she was like, no, girls can play.
Sounds like a children's book.
I know. It's so funny. I feel like I should write a children's book. That'd be funny. And so my mom was like, do you really want to do this? Like, and I was like, yes. And so she bought the equipment on the spot, and I signed up and played ball hockey that year and quit Irish dancing that year, and I never looked back.
Threw the dresses away.
No. I was like, a little sad to quit that, but I think I made the right choice because I'm still playing ball hockey to this day.
Yes. You have played multiple,
versions of hockey.
Multiple versions. Yes. Do you want
Yes.
to talk a little bit about that transition?
Yeah. So, it was like a co-ed, just a co-ed ball hockey league that I played in near my house. And at some point you age out. So around 16, you age out of the league. And my dad was like, well, you love hockey this much. If you're gonna keep playing hockey, you need to learn how to skate because you got to go to ice hockey. And I was like, okay. But I was 13, and 13 is really late to learn how to skate for ice hockey. All these girls have been skating since they were 4 years old. So that was an uphill battle. I will tell you, there were a lot of tears. It was challenging.
I can see how that would be the case. I grew up ice skating because, I'm from Minnesota. It's kind of you just
natural.
You just learn that at some point. You just do.
Were you that young when you learned? 4?
I don't know if I was 4, but
pretty young.
I might have been about 4.
Yeah. See? Yeah.
But I can imagine that would have been really hard.
Oh my gosh, so hard. But I ended up still getting the opportunity to play in high school and college. And so that was really fun. And then after college, a couple of friends who used to play ball hockey with me when we were younger, we were playing on a women's ice hockey team. And we're like, man, we really miss ball hockey. That was really fun. And it's not a secret. I'm better at running than I am skating. So I was like, man, I would love to play that again. And we found out there was women's tournaments on the East Coast. So we scrounged up a team. We had a spaghetti dinner to raise money so we could get a van to go out there. It was a whole thing. And then they were like, oh my gosh, we didn't know there were women's ball hockey teams in Chicago. And we were like, we didn't know there was a whole group of women that played. And then they told us there was a USA women's ball hockey team that competed. And we were like, oh my gosh. So I tried out for that. And I actually have gotten to go to Switzerland, Czech Republic, and Slovakia competing on the USA women's ball hockey team. So that has been an awesome experience. And I love ball hockey, and it's gives me joy.
Near and dear to your heart.
Yes, it is very near and dear to my heart. So who knew, 8-year-old Eileen, I'll get to travel the world for this.
Yeah,
pretty exciting.
That is pretty exciting.
Please tell us.
I
So you didn't. So I feel like Josie could have played ice hockey. There was a moment 4-year-old Josie could have.
There's probably a moment. 4-year-old Josie also, I think, roughly around the time, was demoted from the Pee Wee baseball team to the T-ball team.
Oof.
So I was that uncoordinated. So I don't think I would have done super well with a hockey stick.
So you can't hold yeah.
Part of that is that like I have terrible eyesight, and we didn't know until much later on.
Well, that could do it.
But I have never competed internationally, I will say.
Okay, all right. We don't have to.
Yes.
It's okay.
But I will say that I did compete up till high school in both tennis and gymnastics.
Okay.
Which are not team sports like yours.
Right.
I mean,
no.
they kind of are, but not
But it's
quite
a
to the
completely
same.
different kind of, when you're competing kind of on your own.
Yeah.
With your teammates cheering you on.
Yeah, with the exception of like doubles in
Right.
tennis. But yeah. Anyway, I have been playing tennis since I don't even know when. It's kind of just like a family thing. My dad plays, my grandpa plays, and Josie played. My sister played for a bit. My brother never did. I did that all the way through high school.
Awesome.
State tournaments.
What do you like about tennis?
Tennis? When I was younger, I really liked that you got to be like outside a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's faster paced than most people would think about, and I'm kind of like, y'all can't see me, but I like talk with my hands and like twiddle my fingers. I like to be moving.
Mm-hmm.
And you're constantly doing that in tennis. Like,
mm-hmm.
So I think part of that is just it, and I like being outside.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no indoor courts where I was during high school.
And you lived in?
I lived in Milbank, South Dakota for high school.
Okay.
So there's no indoor courts. You cannot play tennis year-round unless you like travel.
Right.
And I wasn't willing to do that because the roads are really icy then. So I did gymnastics as well.
Okay.
But I've been interested in gymnastics since I was really little. Kind of similar. Saw my cousin competing. Little Josie wanted to be on the mats with all of them, and
that's why it's important to see
Yeah,
other women play.
Yeah, exactly.
Or compete.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've always been interested in that. A friend of mine got me into it in middle school, and just kind of took off from there. I will say, gymnastics was definitely harder on my body than like say tennis was.
Right.
And that's probably just like I was not competing at a high level in tennis. Not that I was competing at a super high level for gymnastics, but
still, gymnastics is quite a
it's
thing.
A lot. It's
you
a
can't
lot.
just like. I'm not saying you can pick up any sport, but you can I could play basketball recreationally and I wouldn't like break myself.
Yeah.
But if I tried to do that with gymnastics, I'd probably break my neck.
I mean, I learned how to do like handstands and handsprings and cartwheels and round offs, which are all like basic gymnastics moves on the grass in my friend's backyard.
Yeah.
Because her dad like either coached gymnastics or was a former gymnast. And I will say it's a lot easier than to do it on. It's easier to do it on like the competition floor than in a backyard.
All right, that's
but
fair.
Yeah, I guess those are the things I've done. I didn't compete collegiately because it just wasn't my thing, so I don't have that experience. But
what do you think, or like why do you think it was important that you played, or what do you think you gained from just doing those sports?
I mean, it definitely like it teaches you discipline. That's for sure. Because you are there in morning practices. You like when everyone's on like Christmas break, for instance, from school, we still had practice for gymnastics. I mean, when you're playing tennis in like 95-degree weather outside, like it's a commitment. Definitely helped me focus quite a bit. But what about you?
Well, I think. Like, I know it's a little bit different because I played team sports, but I think what playing hockey has taught me, well, definitely like some grit and determination. Determination for sure, because I had to learn how to skate in the middle when everyone else had already.
I can't even imagine learning how to ice skate. Right?
That was an uphill battle. A lot of tears. It was, but I mean, playing through adversity or like, like staying committed to, like I wanted to play hockey. So just playing through adversity, determination for, reaching your goal. And I think hockey's definitely taught me about like grit, you know, like it's a tough sport. I'm a defenseman, so I block a lot of shots, whether it's puck or ball.
One hurts more than the other.
Yes. And also I think just like playing a team sport, it's nice to have that camaraderie and like, you know, you always know your teammates have your back, or, you know, you have theirs, and it just kind of like getting along with people, and also just seeing the other women, and like I feel like seeing them lead and being strong, it's just like, yeah, women can do anything.
Yeah, I would agree. I do want to point out that I thought it was really great for Matt Rule to start off his press conference like that.
Yes.
That was excellent stuff. I really appreciated how the in-state colleges are posting things on social about it. Creighton said, like, this game, the basketball game, is for all the girls in the stands, and Nebraska posted this tear-jerking montage.
It was very cute. Yeah, it had some little girls who were saying they were inspired by the Nebraska players, and it showed some clips of the current Nebraska players like signing their jerseys and stuff. And then also it interviewed some women who are alum who were on some of the first Nebraska teams ever, and they said they used to play in front of 30 people. And the little girls were told this, and they were amazed. They're like, what? Like, no way. Like, so now it just shows how it's grown, and I think, yeah, it's really good to celebrate this and the growth, I think, of women's sports.
I would agree. Definitely nice to have just like one day set aside to be like, this is so wonderful that it's happening for women.
Right. I mean,
girls.
Considering, well, like, you know, usually it's men sports, you know, but it's good to put aside a day and acknowledge the growth and the awesome female athletes that are in the state and all over the world.
Yeah, definitely. But we should probably turn our attention to the in-state colleges real quick, because it's been a hot minute since we have been on a podcast.
Yes.
So if you want to talk about Creighton women's basketball.
Sure. So Creighton just had a big win against DePaul. They won 83-74. Though DePaul had a very short bench. They only had 8 players. They've been struggling with that a little bit.
Yeah, it's not great.
Stinks for them, but good for Creighton, I guess. So I put down 3-pointers for days, because Creighton had a ton of 3-pointers, not just from Morgan Molly, though she did have 5. Molly led the Jays with 21 points, but threes from everybody. They had a total of 13 3-pointers. And Rachel Saunders actually had a really good game. She had steals, 3-pointers, layups. She came close to getting a triple-double. She had 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. But she had this really good steal where she stole it, no one. She just did a nice little layup. It was awesome. She really had a good game. And, of course, your girl, Lauren Jensen, 19 points. She had a game.
Yeah, she usually does. No, I just can't get over her like shot against Iowa.
Oh, yes.
Last season.
It was memorable, wasn't it?
It was beautiful. Anyway, go on.
Flannery, Coach Flannery, after the game press conference, he said he wants tighter defense. He felt like the Creighton gave DePaul like too many chances to catch up. Also, at the end of the game, they kind of were shooting from the perimeter, trying to get threes, when like he felt like, okay, DePaul's tired and worn out by now with their short bench. Like, we should be driving in the middle. The players said, like, this is a great win. It's going to start, like, we need to be more consistent. So hopefully this starts their consistency. And they just want to keep it up. So.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really helpful for them, because they are about to take on St. John's, who is right behind them in the Big East standings.
Yep.
So they will definitely be motivated. Definitely playing a full 40 minutes, which they did against DePaul, but tightening up on defense will definitely go, I think, a long way.
Right, yeah. I mean, and if they play and they shoot like they did against DePaul, continue like throughout the rest of the season, they're going to be a hard team to beat. They just have to not have some dry spells with the shooting.
Especially early on, because I think it throws them off the entire game.
Right. So they were sinking them right away, and I think that helped them for sure.
For sure. On the Nebraska front, 2 games I want to highlight real quick. They lost to the number 10 Iowa, 80-76.
Which is a very close score.
It is very close, because they rallied from a 17-point deficit to get there. Which, like, when you're facing Iowa, and maybe particularly Caitlin Clark,
yes,
that is really good.
Right. No, I honestly think, I almost feel like that's a win. Just
win.
The score.
Just not a score.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Sam Hybe led the Huskers with 16 points. Alexis Markowski and Jess Shelley both had double-doubles.
Nice.
I mean, they held Caitlin Clark to not a triple-double. She was close. She was very close.
But she didn't get it.
But she didn't get it. But she did have 33 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. So she was close there. And then they beat Michigan in kind of the opposite, where they rallied in the second half against Iowa. They kind of fell flat in the second half against Michigan State.
Yes.
But they held off for the win.
They still got to win.
They still got to win.
And they started strong and fast in the first half.
Yes. They left for the break with a 40-22 lead, and it just kind of drifted away. Yes. Not drifted, because they just they were letting Michigan State
catch back them. Up. Yeah.
But Izzy Bourne led with 20 points. Alex Markowski had another double-double against them. Sam Hybe also did. But yeah, they take on Northwestern on Monday, which will be on BTN. It's at 6 o'clock.
Nice.
They should beat them.
I would hope so.
I would also hope so. Big Northwestern, currently in the bottom of the Big Ten, have only one conference win over Wisconsin. Obviously they have to play the full 40 minutes.
Exactly. So now they figured out the first half. They just need to tighten up the second half.
Yeah, don't give Northwestern any
hope.
Chance to win. Not hope, but don't give them any chance to win.
Right. Yeah, they cannot take their foot off the gas pedal, especially like this point in the season. Both teams have to play consistent, and we've seen them both play really well. It's just when they just
gotta do it every game.
Yeah, every game and the whole game.
Whole game, definitely the whole game. So that will be crucial because we're getting close to that postseason.
Right.
Close this out. I want to talk one quick thing about high school sports. Bridgeport, a Class C-1 team, has broken into our top 10 ratings this week.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Does that happen often?
No. No, it doesn't. It's usually made up of Class A and Class B teams. Mm-hmm. Not to discredit the lower class or anything. That's just how it always shakes out, it seems. They are the last undefeated team in the state.
In the state, wow.
Yep.
So I would assume we'd probably see them in the state championships.
I would assume that as well. I mean, you can never know what's going to happen in a state tournament.
Right.
But yeah, they seem like they would be, if you were able to bet on them, which I don't believe you are, they would seem like it'd be a very safe bet for the taking home that title this year.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. But I think we're going to end it here. So thank you for listening to Even Field. If you're listening to us on omaha.com, you can find us wherever podcasts are available. Until next time, I'm Josie.
I'm Eileen.
Thanks.
Bye.